Welcome everyone who's in. This is the Rhymers Will Be Readers, How Rhymes Lead to Early Literacy session. This is our wonderful presenter, Sue Lewin. Everyone give Sue a wave. All right. Well, Sue Lewin is an early childhood teacher, musician and songwriter. She has produced 11 music CDs for young children. Her collaborations include Indigenous educator and singer Sharon Lind, well-known children's musician Mike Jackson, and performer and songwriter Peter Stewart. Sue's musical, Dancing the Boom Cha Cha Boogie, based on the picture book and award-winning author-illustrator Narelle Oliver, was staged as a children's musical in London. She is passionate about early years music education and the links between music and self-regulation's development. I'll give it over to you, Sue.
Thank you. Shall we do a singing version of the Acknowledgement to Country? This is Sharon Lynn's song, and she's just about to, well, she has recorded it on her new CD. If you know it, sing along. The pro forma for this is that unfortunately you have to keep muted, because if you unmute, we have a horrible cacophony of everybody out a half a second. So I'm sorry about that, but you'll hear me and you sing in your own house, okay? Later on after that, once we get started, if you have a question that you want to raise, you can either put it in the chat room, or if you wave your hand, Samantha will see it and she'll interrupt and let us know about that, and you can just jump in, okay? Here it goes. Place your hand upon your heart, let us show respects to the sovereign people of this land. North, south, east and west, join with me. Place your hand upon your heart, let us show respects to the sovereign people of this land, north, south, east and west. Thanks everybody for doing that. I'm just going to share my screen. Just a minute.
So just remember, if you guys want to ask Sue any questions, or if there's something you'd want to discuss with her, just to put it in the chat box. I will see that you have put something in there and I will bring in.
Okay, so are we ready to go, Sam? That's okay, you can see
my... Yeah, of course.
Right.
I can't see your screen just yet, if you wanted to.
Okay. Not sure how to do that, but we'll get that going.
I'll just make sure I've got you as a co-host as well. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's probably what it is. Yeah. Yep. Okay, I'll just keep going and hopefully you'll see me in a minute. So I'm looking at Rhymers Will Be Readers and the importance of using rhyme in early years education. So Mem Fox says that providing comforting rhythms in children's early lives. That's what nursery rhymes do. They're a natural extension of the heartbeat. So very, very early on, we know that if we nurture babies and we sing to them and we rock backwards and forwards in beat to their heartbeat, then it's comforting for them. And we know lots of little rhymes that we can sing to children, hopefully. I don't see that many nowadays, that many people singing to babies, but there are some beautiful ones around. This is a little one. Please join in with me. It's an echo song. So little Mie is a girl in Wiradjuri and little Bire is a boy. And the little girls all sing one part of the song, the little boys sing the other. But if you're singing it as a nursery rhyme, you sing the whole thing. So it's an echo song. So I'll sing it and then you sing it. Little me dance with the butterfly, little me dance. You? Little me dance with the butterfly, little me dance. Little B-Ray dance with kangaroo, little B-Ray dance. Now you? Little B-Ray dance with kangaroo, little B-Ray dance. Little me look at the waterfall, little me look. You? Little me look at the waterfall, little me look. Little B-Ray look at the mountain, little B-Ray look. You? Little B-Ray look at the mountain, little B-Ray look. Little me breathe in the clean air, little me breathe. You? Little me breathe in the clean air, little me breathe. Little B-Ray breathe in the clean air, little B-Ray breathe. You. Little B-Ray breathe in the clean air, little B-Ray breathe. No, I couldn't hear you, but I am sure that was sounding very sweet out there in all sorts of regions of Queensland. That song is by Sharon Lind as well, and is on the CD Stand and Grow that I was very lucky to do with her. Kadai was once asked, when should we introduce children to good quality music? Maybe you'd like to pop some ideas in the chat room if you can think of any.
So we've just got some people asking if we can put the names of the songs into the chat room if we can, or if we can do that at the end.
They're in the reference section at the end of the slideshow, so you will see them all at the end. But I can certainly do that one. That's maybe it's Little Me A, Little B-Ray from Stand and Grow. So I've mentioned that I think in the references at the end. Thank you for bringing that up. I do like people to know where the song comes from. Otherwise, they'll go, oh, that's all very well, but I can't use it. The very first song that I did, The Acknowledgement of Country, is coming out very soon. Sharon's done her own CD, and that will be launched when we can all see each other face to face. So that will be lovely. So do people know who Kadai was? He was a Hungarian musicologist and very, very keen on bringing simple music to children in the form of, you probably know tonic solfa concepts, you know, so me, so me, so me, la so me, which is based on what children do in the playground. La, na, 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 na. You know, it's their natural singing range, if you like. So he was once asked, when should we introduce children to good quality music? Sam, what have we got? Has anybody come up with anything?
We've just got one person that has said that long before they were born, according to Kadali,
Yes.
at least from when their auditory systems are working, is it at 14 weeks gestation? And that's from Elizabeth.
Lovely. Well, yeah, the earlier the better, obviously. But Kadai said 9 months before the birth of the mother. So we should introduce children to good quality music 9 months before the birth of the mother. What he was meaning was it should be in our culture. It should be in our history. It should be something that we pass down from adult to child as we go. And of course, I expect you're seeing the same as I am. Many younger educators, younger mothers haven't had that from their mothers. So we're in the first generation of people where not everybody knows nursery rhymes. Not everybody knows those beautiful traditional rhymes. And what I'm hoping to do in this workshop is to bring back that passion for rhymes and to see why. Why do them? Why teach them? What are the benefits of teaching rhymes? So first up, let's jot down any toddler or baby songs, you know. These are the ones that you juggle children on the knee, you know, to muck it, to buy a fat pig, or tickling songs, or nappy changing songs, or rhymes. So have a quick jot down, maybe in the chat box, and Samantha can read some of those. Let's see how many we come up with.
Well, some that I know is Bingo, Twinkle Twinkle.
Yep.
Just waiting to see. We have I Want Somebody to Buy Me a Pony.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Pat a Cake, Little Bo Peep, Round and Round the Garden.
Lovely. Now, those are very sensual ones, all of the ones you're talking about, the pat a cake and the round and round the garden. You get all that lovely sensate feeling when you do that. That you can't get on Zoom, can you? Or YouTube. You can't get that. And those beautiful ones, This Little Piggy went to market, where you just have squeals of delight when you do them with children, if you're changing nappies, if you're in long day care, or if you're just playing with a young sibling, or they're beautiful ones. Lots of horse rhymes for bouncing on your knees that you might know. Horsey, horsey, don't you stop. Things like that. Might be worth having a look again and seeing which ones are around. Any others, Samantha? I can't actually see the chat room in my...
That's it. This is The Way We.
Oh, yes.
Mummy on the Horse Goes a-Walking.
Oh, lovely. Oh, I don't know that one. I'll have to look that one up. Good. Okay, let's we'll keep those in the chat room. You can have a look, and then if there's one that you don't know, maybe you can look it up. Now, this is a little quiz for you to do of older children's nursery rhymes. Look, some of these we do, some of them we don't do. I'll give you a couple of minutes just to have a think, and if you're with somebody else, you can have a chat. See which ones of these you know.
Are you able to share your screen again, Sue?
No, I can't. No, it's not letting me. I don't know how to do that.
So down the bottom you should see...
No, I don't have anything down the bottom. It's all gone since we came into the new screen. It's all gone. Yeah, we were all set up, everybody, and we were all ready to go, and then it cut us out. So now I don't have that, I'm afraid. If I click anything, it just goes on to the next slide. So I'm just making do with what I've got. You can't see me, though. Can you not see me?
Oh, we can see you.
Oh, that's all right. I can't see myself, so it's probably quite a good thing. Okay, let's have a look at these and see how many of these you knew. The first one is Who Ran Away with the Spoon? Anybody? Easy one. The Dish. What did Georgie Porgy do? Georgie Porgy pudding and pie kissed the girls and made them cry.
Yes.
Jack Sprat's wife would eat no fat. No, Jack Sprat would eat no fat. His wife would eat no lean. What was the old lady who lived in the shoes parenting style? So she sent them to bed without any, she whipped them all soundly and sent them to bed. That's what she did. So who fell off a wall? Humpty Dumpty. What did little Miss Muffet sit on? A tuffet. How does your garden grow with silver bells and cockle shells? And what did little Bo Peep lose? Her sheep. Which illegal thing did Tom the Piper's son do? This is one that not many of us know. Tom, Tom the Piper's son stole a pig and away did run. And who went to Gloucester? I love this one, and not many people do it. Dr. Foster went to Gloucester in a shower of rain. He stepped in a puddle right up to his middle and never went there again. And the last one, what rhymes with the cow with the crumpled horn? Again, I don't know if anybody out there got this. Anybody on the chat room get it, Samantha?
I'm just waiting for them to come through.
Okay. It's the house that Jack built. The maiden all forlorn that milked the cow with a crumpled horn. And
yes,
it goes
Arlene.
to lots and lots of things that lived in the house that Jack built. Beautiful cumulative rhyme that we don't really do very much these days. I'm going on to the next one now. How did you do anyway? Did anybody get 11? Hands up. Did anybody get 11?
I did have teacher at Sherwood Kindy, got quite a few.
Oh, well done, well done.
And Arlene got All Forlorn.
Good.
Well done, guys.
Fantastic. Okay, we're going to have a little discussion now, and I think we can do this all in together. I was talking to Sam about breakout rooms, but I think it takes up quite a lot of time to come and go. So which of these nursery rhymes would you use? Which would you not use, and why? And what if you don't know any nursery rhymes, or you come from a different culture? This is something that I'm finding more and more. People haven't grown up with with Australian English nursery rhymes, and so what happens then? So which of them do you know, would you use or not use? Why? What if you do not know any nursery rhymes or come from a different culture? And I'm just going to ask, if you put your hand up, then Sam will just pick on some people. And you'll have to unmute yourself. Anybody?
I've just got a few people asking about seeing the slideshow, Sue. So I might...
all right, I'll give it another go. I'll see if I can.
Yeah. Up the top, you may need to change from...
How's that? Is that better?
Wonderful. Everyone clap. Yay.
Good, good. Okay, does anybody want to say anything about any of these? Any of the nursery rhymes?
Well, as a teacher myself, I know that I use, the kids absolutely love 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 once they caught a fish alive, because it's very physical, very rhymey, and they love the counting in it. And if you're happy and you know it.
Absolutely. I can see a lot of people haven't got their screens on, and look, I don't blame them, because when you're sitting at home, you know, it's nice to have the screen off so people can't see you in your slippers and stuff. But it would be nice if we could have some other people saying things as well. I'll talk in the meantime if nobody else wants to. Some of them are obviously not appropriate now. You don't whip them all soundly and send them to bed, and you don't necessarily do things. And I love things like Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet. Nobody knows what a tuffet is, but isn't it a beautiful word to introduce children to? So I think you have to look at each one and think, oh, there's quite a lot that I can get out of this. And just have a revisit of some of those beautiful nursery rhymes that we have done in the past. I'm hoping to inspire you to have a look.
So we've got some people saying that some of the traditional nursery rhymes are no longer politically correct.
Absolutely.
And it's difficult to know what you can and can't use because they can be a little bit harsh.
Absolutely. I think there are enough really good quality nursery rhymes that you can pick and choose. There are some beautiful ones that we don't do anymore that have gone out of use, not because of political correctness, but just because we don't do them. Things like Girls and Boys Come Out to Play. There's a few old-fashioned words in that, but it's a beautiful song in 6/8, and we don't sing a lot of songs in 6/8 these days. A lot of the songs we sing are, you know, understand what I mean by they're 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. And Girls and Boys Come Out to Play is girls and boys come out to play. The moon doth shine as bright as day. Beautiful, beautiful tune. The reason that a lot of these nursery rhymes are still around is because the tunes are very good quality. So yeah, I think you have to use a bit of discretion. I also think you don't have to be silly. I've been into centres where they won't sing Baa Baa Black Sheep because they say it's racist, and I don't get that because there are black sheep and there are white sheep, and you know, and they change it to Baa Baa Rainbow Sheep, which I think is silly because I've never seen a rainbow sheep. So you've got to be a bit sensible about these things. If you can't use it in its entirety, don't use it. There's so many good ones. Did anybody say anything about the other cultures? You're muted, Sam.
Sorry. We've got some people saying that They gave them soup with lots of fresh bread and kissed them all Kindy and put them to bed.
There you go. That's a way of using it.
Like kissed instead of whipped.
Yes, yeah.
Or any minstrel songs. That there's a lot of lovely nursery rhymes from African American cultures.
There are. From any culture. I've always made a habit of trying to get to know a song from the culture that I have a child in the class, always. And so that's always been interesting. I might never use it again. I had a Turkish little boy once, and I haven't taught a Turkish child since, and I haven't really used it since, I realised. But it was great for that year to learn it. Okay. So listen to this saying, those who struggle to recognise words that rhyme have difficulty in learning to read. Now, if we take that on board, that is a really important statement, and it really does make what we do in the early years vitally important, because we do a lot of rhyming, I believe. And so whether it's with a storybook, or whether it's with a rhyme, or with a transition rhyme or a song, those who struggle to recognise words that rhyme have difficulty in learning to read. So these are the three things that I think that nursery rhymes enhance in children's lives. There might be a lot more, and I'm really happy if you've got other things that you think they do. I'm sure they do. They develop listening skills. They help children to remember the words and the actions, and they create word pictures. All three of those things are vitally important, apart from all the other things about the literacy of oral language, which we'll look at again. So we'll look at these one at a time. We'll just look at listening skills to start with. If you think about the song Wibbly Wobbly Woo, don't know if anybody knows this one, but we might sing it together. You're listening very, very carefully to whose name I am rhyming. So I'm going, wibbly wobbly wee, an elephant sat on me. Wibbly wobbly woo, an elephant sat on you. Wibbly wobbly womantha, an elephant sat on Samantha. Wibbly wobbly ween, an elephant sat on Jean. And so I would do that for all of the children. It's hard if you've got a William in your class, that doesn't really work. But for everybody else, it does. And the children have to really listen to that sound to make their name rhyme. So how early does this happen, this ability to build in listening? This is Miles in this picture. And I'm not sure, I think he's about between 6 and 7 months here with his dad. Have a listen. And he does it in time to the music as well. So he's got an amazing sense of scan, of rhythm of the song, of what comes next, as quite a small child in that picture. Incidentally, I can see some people taking screenshots of the screen. You're very welcome to have this PowerPoint afterwards. Kim will send it to anybody who wants, so that will be useful for you. So just have a think. What is Miles showing his knowledge of in this picture? Any ideas? Oops. Have we got any ideas there?
If you have any ideas, you're welcome to unmute yourself and say something or put it into the chat box.
Yeah, I can see the chat box now. It says musical timing, sense of phrasing, rhythm. Yeah. And who'd have thought at this young age, how young, to be able to do that, to pick up that there's something missing at the end of each line. Yep, predictability. He's obviously had that sung to him a lot, hasn't he?
Sue, I thought his hands almost started to gesture.
He did, in time with what he was singing. Absolutely. Yeah, he did. Yes, vomiting. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, the beginnings of conversation. Yes, I think I agree with you. Yeah.
It's like he knew that when the music stopped, it was his turn.
That's right.
And when the music started again, he had to wait.
Yeah. So amazing, isn't it, when you just see how important that is for his development. Incidentally, Miles is now just going into high school and plays in the brass band at high school. So we taught him at the Kindy that I was teaching at Mount Gravatt Kindy when he was 4. Okay. So that was listening to sounds and so on. I just wanted to look a little bit then. Oops, this keeps doing this. Sorry about this. I'll just now talk about how we can remember things through nursery rhymes. You remember the 3 things that I said it did, that it helped with listening skills and it also helped children remember. Well, as adults, I think we need rhymes to help us remember sometimes. If I said to you, how many days are there in June? What would you say? Anybody? How would you work it out?
30 days has September, April, June, and November.
Yes,
is there anyone else that does that?
Absolutely. I still do that. I still do that. 30 days has September, April, June, and November. And that is a rhyme that helps you with your memory, with your working memory, which is quite amazing. There's a couple of other ones like that. What about plumbers and people that use screws to screw things on? Have you heard one that they use? Yes, Sherwood, you're doing well. Yes. Yeah, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. That's one. So I only realised that fairly recently. Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. What about compass directions? Anybody got a rhyme or something that you use, a little saying that you use for that?
Did anyone ever do never eat soggy Weet-Bix?
Absolutely. Yeah. My daughter still does, never eat soggy Weet-Bix.
Yes. Okay, that's coming through on the chat.
Somebody else did. Michelle did as well. Yeah, and there's lots of rhymes like that we use to remember things. Anybody got any others? There's quite a lot that adults use.
Left to the window, right to the door.
Ah, right.
And then you've got, when you're teaching left and right, the L.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Up to the ceiling, down to the floor.
That's right, my very easy memory jingle. Yes, I used that when I was at school. Every good boy deserves fruit, I can see, yes. Yeah, days of the week to the Addams family, yeah. Yeah, so there's some really useful ones that we did. One that I learned fairly recently. Do people know Maggie Dent? You know of Maggie Dent? Some people do. She's wonderful. And I was at a conference with her recently when she asked everybody to name all of the 5 ELF outcomes. Now, I can see people going, oh, 5 ELF outcomes. What are the 5 outcomes? Anyway, what she did was this: identity, connectedness, well-being, confidence, and communication. Let's try it. Identity, connectedness, well-being, confidence, communication. And I went up to her in the coffee break and I said, Maggie, do you mind if I put that to music? Because I think that people, especially new teachers, will really enjoy having some music to this. She said, yeah, go for it, because she does. She's very like that. So I did this. Please join in with me if you know this. It goes like this. You know that one? What an easy way to remember the ELF outcomes. Now you'll be doing that every time that you have to write a portfolio documentation. But I thought it was fun. So thanks to Maggie for that one. So there's things that we do that will help us remembering things. So that's part of my passion for helping children learn about self-regulation, is about letting them have tools, I suppose, to remember things. So there's the ELF outcomes that we all know and love so well. This is a children's one that I've written about what they have to do before they go outside, because it can get very complicated. If you say to a child, now go to your locker, take your shoes off, get your water bottle, don't forget to go to the toilet and wash your hands. Hopeless. They've said, what was the first thing you asked me to do? So this is a little one to do with working memory about going outside. Put your hat on your head, take your shoes off your feet, have a drink of water if that's what you need. Go to the bathroom and wash your hands, get ready for the great outdoors. Now I'll do it line by line. I can't hear if you're joining in or not, but let's hope you are. It goes like this. Put your hat on your head, put your hat on your head, take your shoes off your feet, take your shoes off your feet, have a drink of water, have a drink of water, if that's what you need, if that's what you need. Go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom and wash your hands, and wash your hands. Get ready for the great outdoors. Get ready for the great outdoors from the beginning. Put your hat on your head, take your shoes off your feet, have a drink of water if that's what you need. Go to the bathroom and wash your hands. Get ready for the great outdoors. Now that comes from this CD that some of you might have lurking in your cupboard somewhere. Come On and Move Your Body, which I did with Mike Jackson a few years ago, and it will be on the references at the bottom as well. If you wanted to change it, if you're not going outside, if you're doing something else, obviously I'm always happy for people to change my songs around. That's what they're there for. They're meant to be working songs. Yeah, Come On and Move Your Body, Mike Jackson, yeah, with me. Thank you for typing that in. Lovely. So other things that help working memory are things like cumulative rhymes. Now, cumulative rhymes are things like there was an old lady who swallowed a fly. You know, those things that you add to the house that Jack built that we mentioned earlier. Things like there's a gum tree growing on the hill, which is from my CD, Stand and Grow. Anybody else got some cumulative rhymes that are really good for helping children to remember things?
Don't know if it's a rhyme, but it's more a song that I use. It's make a circle, make make it round, make
Absolutely.
it round. And
Yes.
then, yeah, so.
Do you know, that's a very, very useful song. Somebody much wiser than me once, who was doing a music workshop, asked all of us to get into a hexagon as adults, and we just couldn't. We couldn't do it because it's out of our sort of knowledge of what we can do with our body. And that's the same when you say to children, make a circle. They don't know how to. So if you do that, if you say make a circle, and you sing it and you model it and you make the shape, then they can do it. Yeah, so it's very, very good. Oh, we've got some good ones. One man went to mow, Clickety Cane. Mr. Clickety Cane's wonderful, isn't it? Do people still use Peter Coombs? I love him. Sailor went to CCC. I don't know a sound that gives me power. That sounds interesting. Chris Matthews, we need to ask Chris about that one. But yeah, those cumulative songs that build up and you've got to remember the next thing, they really, really help with that working memory.
Jen Jerop.
Good. Okay, we'll look him up. Jen Jerop. Yeah. Thanks for that. I love meeting new people and hearing new songs and so on. That's great. So any of these things that help us remember. So I thought I'd do that Gumtree one because that's one that you probably haven't heard. You probably heard there was an old lady who swallowed a fly and those others. If you haven't done them for a while, pull them out of the cupboard and certainly look up these. Right, you need your hand like this. It goes, there's a gum tree growing on a hill, and a kookaburra sits and laughs at the sunrise. And if the gum tree dies, the kookaburra flies away. Let's try that. There's a gum tree growing on a hill, and the kookaburra sits and laughs at the sunrise. And if the gum tree dies, the kookaburra flies away. And then at the beginning of every verse, we go back to the gum tree and then we add a different animal. So I'll just do a couple of them. There's a gum tree growing on a hill, and a kangaroo sits and listens to the sound, while the kookaburra sits there laughing at the sunrise. And if the gum tree dies, the kookaburra flies away. So that's the beginning of it, and it adds all of the other animals. And so that's on Stand and Grow, which I did with Peter Stewart and Sharon Lind. So that's that one. So we were talking about remembering things. Even in other parts of the curriculum, I use music to aid children's working memory. So for example, if you've got some beads and some children are threading a bead, they might have a yellow one, a green one, a yellow one, a green one. And you say, what comes next? I don't know. But if you go, oh, look what you've got. Yellow, green, yellow, green, yellow, green. They'll almost always say yellow, green, and they'll be able to continue the sequence if you're doing that. So a little mantra when you do something, blue, blue, yellow, blue, blue, yellow, blue, blue, and they'll be able to do that, that sequence. So that's another way that we can help with little rhymes or little tunes to aid children's memories. Okay, so we've looked at helping children's memories. We looked at children listening, and we've just touched the surface of this really. The third thing that I wanted to talk about was about word pictures. So I have seen a number of teachers who do things like this. 10 fat sausages sizzling in the pan. All of a sudden, one went bang. They have lost everybody's interest in the first 2 minutes. Now, I'm sure this isn't you. I'm sure it's not. But if you add just a little prop, these are my 10 fat sausages, aren't they gorgeous? And you add the kind of ways of telling rhymes that we all have as educators. 10 fat sausages sizzling in the pan. All of a sudden, one went bang. You've all of a sudden introduced a word picture to children, haven't you? They can see those sausages. They can hear the sausages. They can smell the sausages. And they'll remember that rhyme. This is a lovely little one that I got from the book garden, this 10 fat sausages. Very, very helpful, especially for children who don't have English as their first languages. They love that one. So this is another example of a word picture. Now, what I'd like you to do here, this is the lovely Sue Southey, who many of you would know, I'm sure. She has got hardly any props in her hand. I think she's got her fist and a beanbag. But just look at the way that she makes a word picture through these two rhymes. And I'd like you especially to look at the cues that she uses with children and the way that she holds children's attention in this little snippet.
Here is the beehive. Where are the bees? Hiding inside where nobody sees. Watch them come creeping out of the honey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bee, bee, bumblebee, can you sing your name to me? Mom is Bee, bee, bumblebee, can you sing your name to me? Happy? So stand up, Abby, and sing. My name is Happy. Beautiful singing. You can sit down here, yeah? Off you go, ready and bee, bee, bumblebee. Can you sing your name to me? Now, can you sing? My name is Chloe. Give Chloe a clap.
Okay, I love that snippet because it shows so many different skills of Sue as an educator. Anybody got any ideas about what you think? You can say it or write it. I'd love to hear some other people's voices. So the cues that she gives and the way that she keeps children engaged with that in terms of making word pictures. What do you think? Yeah, facial expressions and pausing, I can see, yes. Yes, she's very engaged with them, isn't she? She's right there, yeah. Oh, look, lots of ideas, yes. Yes. I love all those comments. Chloe, who was the last person there, hadn't done that song before. And so Sue just gently modelled and cued her, didn't she, so that she could get the idea. And the non-verbal gestures, yes, she didn't stop and say, oh, it's your turn now, you need to stand up. And she didn't do that at all. She just gently, you know, touched the child so that they'd stand up. Very skilled, isn't it? But very beautiful with just a very few props. Thought you'd like that one. Okay, I just thought I'd include a few resources for people because I'm sure quite a lot of you have got resources. Don't know if you've come across this one. This is by Playgroup Association of Queensland, and it was put together by a number of very, very good musicians, including Kate Williams from QUT, and it has a little CD with it. It's only about $20, I think, and it has a family resource pack and a service resource pack as well, and it's very accessible, very, very easy. And of course, the old favourite, look at my lovely torn version of this. I'm sure in the back of your cupboards you will have that one somewhere. Still useful, still good. So they've done new copies of both of these, and they've updated them a little bit, updated the pictures, but both very, very good resources. Now, I was just going to look now quickly at books that rhyme. So we've looked at why nursery rhymes are so important, because they do all those things that we've said. They help your working memory, they help you listen, they create word pictures. But then rhymes have a bigger connotation for the world. Do you know this one, The Jolly Postman? I love it. It's by Alan and Janet Ahlberg. And I have, in these days of COVID, I've been reading some books with my young granddaughter in England. She's 4 and she has a copy of this. So I had a copy too. So we've been reading it together. The page that she loves best is when the postman has a cup of tea with the giant. You see that picture there? That one. And it says underneath, so the giant read the postcard with baby on his knee, and the postman wet his whistle with a thimble full of tea. Isn't that just a scrumptious rhyme? I love it. Well, we've read that a few times now, and the other day her auntie popped in to see her because now they can. And I said, oh, you had Auntie Hannah for tea. Did you give her a drink? And she said, yes, Auntie Hannah wet her whistle with a thimble full of tea. I thought, isn't that lovely? She's taken that rhyme and used it because she knows that it's delicious and she wants to use it in her own way too. And so an unexpected sort of byproduct of rhyme is that children imbibe it. They just take it into their being, I think. And some of the other favourites that I've got in that regard, you might have some others, I'd be really happy to hear. Shoes from Grandpa is a lovely one like that to read with children. Samantha loves it, I can see.
Yes, I love that book.
Right. I love the cumulative effect of this because children then join in, don't they, on the last one. And the shoes from Grandpa. And you build up to it. So they love that one. Another one by Mem Fox that I love reading is The Magic Hat. And I've heard Mem read this herself, as opposed to some teachers who I've heard read, who they literally read it like this. Oh, the magic hat, it moved like this, it moved like that. It spun through the air and over a road and sat on the head of a warty old toad. So there's no suspense, there's no build up, there's no suspension of disbelief in there at all. The way I can't read it the way Mem Fox does, but she reads it. Oh, the magic hat, it moved like this, it moved like that, spun through the air and over a road and sat on the head of a warty old. And then everybody joins in with Toad after they've had a while to think about how to rhyme it. So beautiful.
In the chat box, we've got some people saying that they like Where's My Teddy?
Oh,
my
yes.
favourite, How Many Trucks Can a Tow Truck Tow? Where tow truck tows tow trucks, guys, that's not fair.
Lovely.
The Smartest Giant in Town.
Oh, isn't Julia Donaldson a wonder? Isn't she? Any English child, you can say to them, well now, what do you know? And they will tell you, there's no such thing as a Gruffalo. It's so much a part of their culture there that they just love Julia Donaldson. Yeah, oh, you've mentioned, Elizabeth's mentioned it, yeah. So very, very important to do that. I don't know if you've come across this one, which Alison Lester wrote with the children of Melville Island, No Way Eureka-Pay. You have to practice it before you read because there's lots of tricky words in it, but it's with pictures by children, and they keep wanting to eat Eureka-Pay, or he wants to eat them rather, and they all say to him, no way Eureka-Pay, you're not eating me today. Beautiful one. I haven't put that in the reference, so if anybody wants to jot that down, No Way Eureka-Pay by Alison Lester and the children of Melville Island. It'll be on the recording anyway. So beautiful rhyming stories that you can use with children. No Way Eureka-Pay. So we would know that all of this feeds into early years literacy. Reading and writing float on a sea of talking. And so what we do is talking. I sometimes supervise students when they're out on practice. And last year they were meant to be studying children's literacy. And they happened to be there the first 2 weeks of the school year. Number of students who said to me, well, we didn't see any literacy in the first 2 weeks of prep. And I said, didn't anybody tell a story? Didn't anybody talk over the Play-Doh table? Didn't anybody, say a rhyme? They said, yeah, but we're talking about literacy, reading and writing. So there's this concept out there in some people that literacy only starts through mark making and through actual reading. But what we do is as important, if not more important, to start off the process. And this is the big 6 of reading. And if you look at all of those 6, which of those do we do in early years?
All 6.
Yeah, all 6. We do all of them. Absolutely all of those. And look at the top one. The one that's very top is oral language. Language is key to communicating, learning, and thinking. And this, I think when I first really realized this, it freed me up as a teacher, because you know how sometimes you spend a half an hour talking with a child about the markings on a butterfly, or you talk about camouflage, and I thought, oh, I've just been sitting here chatting for half an hour. And I looked at this, the first time I looked at this, I thought, yes, that's what I'm absolutely supposed to be doing. Oral language. Language is the key to communicating, learning, and thinking. Very, very important. Any comments about that?
Well, for me, the more they hear you and the more they hear the way in which you speak, you're modeling to them how to use your voice, what oral language and how using your voice can communicate things. So it's more that modeling to them so that they are learning the way in which to use their speech.
Absolutely.
Some people have said that. Where does that model come from? Out of curiosity.
Now, I've put the link in the references at the bottom of this, but it has been used very widely by the department in conjunction with Griffith University, looking at age-appropriate pedagogy. And they have devised a beautiful program between them. They didn't actually make this up themselves, the references in the bottom there, but they've used it, and they use a little fan to show how language is used across the curricula. It's a great little model, isn't it? I think do look it up if you can. It's just called the Big 6 of reading. It was the big 5, and I think the oral language has been put in as the 6th one, because it's so important. So yeah, have a look at that, and also look up age-appropriate pedagogy. Bev Flukiger was one of the leading people in that project. Yeah, Big 6 of reading, thank you. And it is education for parents too. I think if you just put this little picture up and showed them, this is what we do in Kindy. We don't have to do C for cat, D for dog. That's not what literacy looks like in early years. This is what it looks like, which is hard. Yeah. Thank you. Now, I just wanted to spend a little while talking about this. I don't know if any of you have come across Kate Williams at QUT and the Ramsar project. They have piloted this in some C&K kindergartens across Queensland. And Kate had just got a 3-year bursary to pursue this. She's a speech and music, she's a music therapist by tradition, and she's now working at QUT. And what her studies have shown, that rhythm and movement help with the self-regulation. So within that, she's talking about beat. Lots of research to show, just in the same way as children who have trouble rhyming also have trouble reading, children who have trouble with rhythmic beat have trouble with self-regulation. And this is an area that I'm passionate about. Kate and I have written a couple of papers on this if you're interested to look further. And this afternoon in the second session that I'm running, I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. So if you look down the left here of the things that she's looking at the neuroscience of beat, the cognitive benefits of coordinated movement and music, and the neurocognitive evidence from music therapy.
Sorry, so people are just asking where they could find those papers.
Yeah, just look up, I think, Kate Williams and Sue Lewin. I think you'll be able to get that. Otherwise, if anybody would like to email me, I'll send it to you. I'll certainly send them.
I'll just put your email into the chat
if
box
they're
as
hard
well.
to find, just put my email in, and you're very welcome to. So the good thing about Ramsar is that anybody can join it. It's hosted via QUT, and you type in Ramsar or Rhythm and Music for Self-Regulation, and it will take you to a page where you have to put in your email address and they will send you a password. Once you've got that password, you have access to all their material, which is the background of the self-regulation writing, and it's the background of why we need rhythm and movement. But even better than that, you've got some little snippets of modelling of doing this one-on-one with children, or one adult and two children. So what I have tended to do is pick up the children who do find rhyming difficult, do find rhythm, you know, really tricky, can't keep the beat, and I use some of these little snippets with them. Just to give you an example of one of them, you know the song, "Everybody do this, do this, do this." Well, Kate uses it, she claps and then does this. So it's like, "Everybody do this, do this, do this. Everybody do this, just like me," which is hard enough in itself for some people. But then instead of that, she leaves out the singing and just does the beat. And when this bit comes, you have to say your name. Now, I can just see in my little box here, Sue and Samantha and Julie, so I'm going to pick on you. Can you just unmute for a minute, please? Sorry, Julie. So I'm going to sing it first and say my name, then I'm going to do it and Samantha will say her name, and then Julie, right? Here we go. Sue.
Sam. I meant to say Julie, sorry.
Julie.
That's it. Let's try once more, because it's really hard on Zoom to do this sort of thing. If you were in the room, it'd be much easier. I'll start again. Sue.
Sam.
Julie.
Great. Thank you very much. So that's just an example of one of the little things that you can do with one or two people just to encourage their listening skills, their beat, their sense of self-regulation. And it's a big project. So you can go through the whole of number 1, whole of 2, whole of 3. So any questions about that or comments about that? Elizabeth says she thinks she's found it. That's good. We published it in a couple of journals, and also I've written in the ECTA journal about the links between self-regulation and music. And as I say, I was going to go into that in more detail this afternoon. But basically the links are inhibitory control, the cognitive flexibility, and the working memory. Some of those things we talked about in this this session. It helps us. So any other comments about that? Okay. So this last little bit then is just looking at creating rhymes with children. So not just using rhymes that we can teach children, but getting them to do their own. So I gave the children a task. Did you ever did you ever see a? And I gave them the little toy fox. I wasn't mean enough to give them something that I knew they couldn't rhyme. I knew there was a letterbox and some other things in the Kindy. So they had to take the fox and go and search around the Kindy for something that rhymed. And then we put it in a little book. Did you ever did you ever see a fox on the letterbox? No, I never, ever. No, I've never seen a fox on the letterbox. Very simple little thing, but just giving children things that they can go and search and rhyme. This was one that they made up themselves after we'd done a few. Did you ever, did you ever see your hand in the sand? No, I never, ever. No, I've never seen a hand in the sand. So just a nice little idea of things that rhyme with everyday articles. I wouldn't give them an orange or the colour purple. Okay. So, what are some of the barriers that would stop me using rhyme songs and dances in my setting? Is the first question. What is one thing I'll take away from this that I will try, that I haven't tried before? And what is one thing that made my eyebrows raise? I like asking that of pre-service teachers because it makes them go, oh, did anything? Anyway, so if you wouldn't mind unmuting yourself and putting your hand up, I'd love to hear from other people. What are the barriers that would stop me? What is one thing I'm going to have a go at that I haven't done before? And what's one thing that made my eyebrows raise? So if you all unmute, and I'll put Samantha in charge of this.
Thanks, Sue. All right. Anyone?
I really like what you did with the getting the children to take photos with the rhyming. I think that's definitely something that we can do in the classroom. I thought that was an excellent idea. Thank you.
Julie?
I think one of the things that stops us doing it, Sue, is that we don't feel that we have any rhythm. I'm the sort of person that, you know, is in the, everyone else is clapping, but I'm on the offbeat. That's always me. And I think that that stops you from doing anything, you know, beat-wise for me. But I'm working on it.
Any suggestions for Julie?
Don't worry, they don't care.
True.
Just do it.
Just on that Ramsar site, there are some backing tracks that you can use from the Ramsar site that have just got the, oh, I sounded like Queen then. Oh, that's good. Anyway, but it's just like that. So you could use that if you wanted, if you didn't feel strong enough in your own rhythm.
Yeah.
Arlene, are you putting your hand up? You'll just have to unmute, Arlene.
I'm looking forward to using the Ramsar site. But the thing that I find interesting is I've been trying to work on beat, and I watch the children, and I'm imagining that they're going to be stepping in time like I am, and there's a lot who are not, who are just not there. So I'm thinking I need to go back to simple, and I've gone back to an old favourite Wiggles one about here comes the bear, stomping, stomping, and it's all beat, and it's there in front of you on the video.
Thank you. Yes, I think go back to basics. If they're finding it tricky, go back and keep it simple. Yeah. Anyone else? Just wave your hand if you've got an idea.
Jean?
I find that, which is interesting, like even if you've taught children really complex songs, that when you go back and say, what is your favourite song? It's usually Twinkle Little Star. Just something that they know and that they feel comfortable and that they know they can do. And if you put a child on the spot and say, which song would you like to sing? They always go back to something really simple like that.
Yeah, that goes back to Mem Fox's that their comfort, aren't they? Rhymes are the comforting thing in our lives. Yeah.
And it's also possible that that's the ones that the parents know at home as well, because they're quite those common ones. So they hear it at home, they hear it at school. So that for them, it's that, like you said, yeah, it's that safe sort of zone. Anyone else? There's a lot of screens that are not showing video. So if your video is not on, I can't see your hand. I'm sorry. Elizabeth?
I'm a former music teacher, but now early childhood teacher. And a really great one I found when I was in the primary school context, but I also used in the kindy context, is the Throw It Out the Window song. So that one's really good for teaching nursery rhymes in a really engaging way. And those really basic ones that you think that they might be beyond to you. I'm just wondering if others know that song.
I just recorded it last year. It's on, on this one, my Upsy Daisy CD with Mike Jackson. I was going to do it in the workshop this afternoon. Yes, it's wonderful. It's a lovely old song. Yeah. Good. So yes, Throw It Out the Window. So it's a nursery rhyme, and then you change it and throw whatever it is. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Thanks for that, Elizabeth. Yeah. I think Michelle had her hand up just now.
Yeah, I'm keen to share the big six of reading with my families, actually, because, you know, in those early conversations at the beginning of the year, they, not all of them, but some of them have a perception that at kindergarten we should be starting to teach reading and writing, and they start inquiring about things like sight words and stuff like that. And I have to really explain to them, we need to bring it right back, and explaining to them, you know, and asking them, do you read to your children? And trying to explain them the importance of that. So I'm really looking forward to being able to share that model with my family.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, I think Mem Fox's beautiful Reading Magic that she wrote about reading. It's a very simple book. We've always had that in our parent library to share with parents too, about what the importance, as you say, of reading to your children. Yeah. Anything else? What one thing made my eyebrows raise? Anything make your eyebrows raise, or that you would take away from this session?
Anyone else wanting to put their hand up? Or if you like, just unmute and start speaking.
It's very different doing this on Zoom than it is in real life. You'd be all chatting away at this stage in real life. It's something about the screen, isn't there? Maybe that's a bit of a barrier to us at the moment. What I find on the whole that are the barriers that I find are confidence, skill, resources, and knowledge. So those are the four things that people normally say to me are barriers. And so certainly things like not feeling that you have the skill in rhythm, use some of the props that are around. There are some beautiful CDs, music. People like Hat Palmer and his rhythm stick songs, you know, are just lovely. Rhythms on Parade. I haven't quoted that because I just thought of that, but Hat Palmer's Rhythms on Parade. Peter Coombs uses a lot of beat in his work. The Wiggles do. The Wiggles use a lot of beat. So any of the good quality music that's around, or you could just go to classical music, to Sousa's marches, for example, or go to, you know, something that like Peer Gynt, and listen to things that have a strong beat to help you out. There's no reason why you can't use those, I think.
Just got a few people asking. We've got, have you got any, got some great clapping rhymes?
Oh, well, Pat a Cake is the very first one. That's nice. And I have actually got quite a few. I would say I'll point you towards Hat Palmer because he is the king of clapping rhymes. I do really love his stuff, and he's been around for a million years. Hap, H-A-P, Palmer, Rhythms on Parade. I don't know if people have that CD, but that's lovely. There's a lot of echo songs that you can do with clapsticks. There are some clapstick songs on our Stand and Grow CD that Sharon does. Sharon is a Wiradjuri elder, and she uses clapsticks a great deal. So yeah, I think those people have got lots of beautiful things. Any other questions that you've got there?
Kids love The Ants Go Marching.
Yes. Any of those marching songs are great because they are strong, and it's a really good way of getting the beat. And incidentally, if you do one of those, and like Julie said, she picks up that children can't keep the beat, they're the ones that you want to do a lot of one-on-one with. Some of those Ramsar techniques, or just some little echo clapping, because they're the ones that need that extra work on rhythm and getting that beat. It'll hold them in good stead for everything else that they do in the future.
Arlene?
There's a rhyme that I like to use. I can't quote my source, and I don't know if I use it correctly or not, but I'm thinking of a word that rhymes with fable. You put your food on it when you're eating. It must be and let children come up. And it's really interesting. Some kids just don't get it. And that's a way of, you know, just making it into a game. And once they do get it, they get it.
That's lovely. Could you put that in the chat? That's a really easy, nice little game, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
That you could even play at lunchtime, or you can play when you're just talking to a little group of children. That's a very nice one. I like that. And the more you do it, the better they get. It's like the wibbly wobbly. The first time you do that, they haven't got a clue what you're talking about, but they pick it up and they just love it. Yeah. Anyone else?
All right, well, it's 12:15, Sue, so we've got about 5 minutes left of your time.
Okay. Well, I'll just go through. Look, this is what I've put in the resources here. So those are the books that and the rhymes that I've used. So there's the Alberg one, the Jolly Postman, Reading Magic, which I just mentioned with you, Shoes from Grandpa, Magic Hat, and the Alison Lester one, Merrily Merrily, Playground one, and then there's the songs. Actually, I haven't got a list of. I know where I'll make sure that I send you the list of the big six if you ask for it. It isn't actually there. Sorry about that. The Great Outdoors comes from the CD Oops-a-Daisy. And I didn't do the Young Engineers because we hadn't got time. We went on a different track. But the other one that I just mentioned then that you were talking about was Throw It Out the Window. All the other songs and rhymes that I used are in the public domain, and that means they haven't got any copyright associated with them. So like Wibbly Wobbly Woo and things like that haven't got copyright with them. Any of the CDs that you like, you can order from my website if you'd like, if you haven't already got them. And if you've got any further questions, that's my email address at the bottom, and I'd be very, very happy for you to write to me and say, oh, look, I know you said this, how do you do that? Or anything, because I love that conversation to go on and for people to feel that it's a moving thing. And I'm really, really hoping that you'll take some of the things that we've done today and put them into practice. My advice, if it's worth anything, would be to practice. If you get a new song that you haven't done before, don't think I'll use it tomorrow, because you'll end up in a pickle. Practice in front of the mirror, or practice when you're cooking dinner until you've got that song or rhyme completely under your skin, so that you know it really, really well before you teach it to children. And I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here. I'm sure you all do that, but I have been caught out that way. The other song that I did that I didn't think I was going to do today was There's a Gum Tree Growing on the Hill, and that's from a CD called Stand and Grow, which was by Sharon Lind and Peter Stewart and I. So that's got some really good beach ones. It's also got a lovely acknowledgement of country song, Stomp, which Julie has a very strong beat in it, and that wakes you up first thing in the morning if you use that one. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. I've had a really lovely time.